Does anyone remember Pokemon Green? I'm not referring to the Japanese game with Venusaur on the box. I mean the one sold in American stores with Scyther on the front. I seem to be the only one who remembers this game. I wish I never encountered it in the first place. It all started in 1998 when Pokemon made its way to the US with Pokemon Blue and Red. I was only 7 years old. A friend of mine had let me borrow his copy of Blue, and from that moment forward, I was addicted to the series. When the time came, I was reluctant to return the game to him, but I did. For the next few days, all I could talk about was the game. As a kid, your whole world can revolve around a simple game, like Pokemon. I ended up helping my dad with the yard work for a few days before my birthday, and I couldn't help but talk his ear off about Pokemon. To my surprise, he said, "Get in the car. We're going to Walmart." Was he really about to purchase me my own copy of Pokemon? I was incredibly excited. This was one of the best days of my life, but it would also be one of my worst. We arrived at Walmart, and my father told me that this would be an early birthday gift, and I could only keep it if I behaved. And I did all my chores. I would have done anything to get my hands on a copy of Pokemon. We went inside and made our way to the video game section, and there they were, sprawled across the shelves in beautiful fashion. Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, and Green? I'd never heard of Pokemon Green, but the Scyther on the cover enticed me, and I had to have it. I grabbed a copy, checked out at the register, and went home as happy as could be. That happiness would not last. When I arrived at my house, I ran upstairs to my room, tore apart the box, and took the cartridge out. The cartridge was very odd. I assumed it would have a normal picture of a normal Scyther on it, just as the box did. Instead, the Scyther was offset to the right, almost as if it was battling something that wasn't there. And it was almost glowing. The background was black, and underneath the Pokemon logo, it did not say green version as I had expected. As unsettled as this made me feel, I placed the cartridge into my Game Boy. I turned it on and found that instead of viewing the intro like in Blue, it immediately brought me to a screen with only one choice: continue. Where was New Game? I wasn't too disappointed. My overwhelming curiosity compelled me to click on continue. I did so, and after a few moments I found my character in what assumed to be was my home. I tried to walk outside, but to my dismay I could not exit the house. There were no stairs, and I couldn't interact with any of the objects in the room. What the heck? I felt a sinking feeling in my stomach, realizing that my cartridge might be broken, and I might not be able to play this amazing video game after all. I shut my Game Boy off, took the cartridge out, blew on it, and put it back in. It brought me to the same screen with the same option, continue. I clicked on continue, and it brought me to the same room. I tried shutting it off and blowing on the cartridge a few more times before I finally became too frustrated and gave up. What the hell was going on? I told my dad about the game, and he took a look at it. He was brought to the same screen in the same room, and he, as well as I, could not escape this room. He saw the box torn up on the floor inside. "Well, we can't return it now." To my surprise, he then said, "I'll have to get you a new one tomorrow." I became incredibly happy once more, and gave my dad the biggest hug I had ever given him in my life. Though disappointed in the game I received, I was glad to have the opportunity to get a new one. The next day, my father and I proceeded to Walmart. He walked over to the video game section, and a lot of the Pokemon games were gone. Half of Blue, most of Red, and all of Green had apparently been sold. There weren't even shelves anymore where Pokemon Green had once been. Wow, I thought to myself. Green must be popular. I wasn't upset. I wasn't intending on purchasing another copy of Green anyhow, seeing as it didn't work out so well the last time. This time I grabbed Red. I had already played Blue and attempted to play Green, so this time I wanted to try something new. We went home, I ran upstairs and opened the box carefully in case I had to return this one. I took the red cartridge out, placed it in my Game Boy and played for hours. I played Pokemon Red until the sun came up the next morning. To this day, Red is my favorite of the Pokemon games and is a great childhood memory. As for Green, I put it in a drawer and forgot about it until many years later. It was May of 2007 when I received a copy of Pokemon Pearl for my Nintendo DS. My dad, knowing how much I loved the series, bought me it, out of the blue, knowing how happy I'd be. "Thank you so much," I exclaimed. Before my dad could even respond, I ran next door to my friend Billy's house and showed him. "What?" he said. "My mom just bought me Diamond." Apparently, Dad and Billy's mom had planned this for a week without the two of us catching on. Without another word, we started to play. We felt like kids again. After many hours, we stopped playing and decided to relive our childhoods and talk about the original generation of Pokemon. "My favorite will always be Pokemon Red," I stated. "Blue for me," said Billy. I recalled my first time playing Red, and then I remembered something that I hadn't thought in about years. The game that I had played before Red, or at least tried to, Pokemon Green. "What about Green?" I asked Billy. "Did you ever play that one?" Billy looked confused. Very funny. Now I was confused. "What do you mean, very funny?" Billy looked displeased. "You and I both know there's no such thing as Pokemon Green." "Yes, there is," I said. He now realized I wasn't joking. He was further confused. "What are you talking about?" To my understanding, up until this point, Pokemon Red, Blue, and Green came out at the same time in 1998. It soon became overshadowed by Red and Blue. And this is why I hadn't heard much about Green since my younger years. This is what I had thought, at least. According to Billy, the biggest Pokemon expert I know, Pokemon Green doesn't exist. At least not an American one with a Scyther on the front. Determined to prove Billy wrong, I invited him over to my house and brought him to my room where I would show him my copy of Pokemon Green. I dug through my drawers and eventually turned them upside down in my efforts, only to be let down. "Where is it? I distinctly remember putting it in my desk drawer when I was younger." "See?" Billy said. "Green doesn't exist. You probably dreamed it up or something." Billy went home, but I kept searching and searching, only to tear my room apart for nothing. Pokemon Green was gone. The following day, I woke up, jumped out of bed, brushed my teeth, and continued downstairs. There, I found my father with a large breakfast waiting for me. The usual Sunday, we ate and indulged in some small talk about sports and the weather. I decided that maybe I should ask my dad about the game, and so I did. "Oh, that old thing? Oh yeah, I took it from your room soon after I bought you the new one and tried to return it without the package. They tried to lie to me and tell me they didn't sell the game there. I gave them a what for and stormed out. They should have just told me they needed the box. Anyways, I think it's on my dresser upstairs. I'll go get it." As my dad made his way to his room, I thought to myself, Billy said the game doesn't exist, and Walmart said that they never carried it in their store. This was beginning to make me feel uneasy. Lo and behold, my father came downstairs and handed me the game, and I felt an unnerving but overwhelming need to attempt to play the game once more. So I grabbed my old Game Boy from my room and proceeded to play. I would have Billy dissect the game with me, but he's usually at church with his family around this time. I was alone in my efforts. The game started the way it normally did, with nothing but continue to choose from. I chose so and found my character in the same room trapped. This time around, being older, I was able to pay attention to more detail. Maybe now I could find a way out. I decided to hit start and see if I had any Pokemon, and my party was a Scyther, not so surprising. Level 25, knowing only the moves Strength, Cut, and Flash. Could a Scyther even learn those moves? I ventured to my items only to find nothing, and to my trainer stats only to find that I had no money, no badges, and 0 hours clocked in, which is impossible. If I hadn't already crossed the threshold of weird, now I had.